Middleton. In the next 10 minutes I'm going to talk to you about the fantastic upgrades that we've achieved on this Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart and explain to you the details and the components that we've put into that kit to achieve an incredible 195, almost 200 kilowatts of the wheels. Now, as an example, this particular car compared to a Mitsubishi standard EVO 10, EVO 10 on our dyno 175, 185 kilowatts. This car 195 to 200. Remembering this car is effectively $20,000 cheaper than an EVO 10. And you may ask what it's got. Well, it's got our first of the R&D to be developed and released MRT Power Kit XC kits. The client had the XA kit, then the XB kit, and then he wanted more with the XC kit. And the XC kit on this particular car has got a completely replacement turbo, modified intake, downpipe, exhaust system, and of course all the upgrades included in the XA and XB kit, which is the tuned, upgraded and converted factory ECU using Ecutech software, and everything else as a package. And of course you can download that document on our website. But the important thing for you, I wanted to show you some of the parts we've changed. And by just looking at the engine bay, you'll be actually basically finding it very hard to tell what's been modified. But if you look closely, we've still got the factory standard air intake and blower valve system and intercooler piping, but it's actually down here where the turbo's been replaced and the inlet pipe to the turbo's changed. And we've gone out of our way to use as many original factory standard parts, so when you lift the bonnet it looks original, and that way the car will have less hassles on the road and also be a lot more reliable, because obviously the more modifications you do to the car, you increase a lot more elements of things to go wrong, and from our point of view we have to work harder to make sure those things are maintained correctly, because of course this kit comes with our factory warranty guarantee and lifetime warranty on the parts, of course, like all the other MRT power kits. Some other things that we've done to this car is you'll notice it's slightly lowered. So it's got MRT progressive rate springs front and back, and also really closely it's got the MRT big brake kit, which are a massive increase in stopping power, similar to what was used on the Hot Tuner Challenge car submitted to Motor Magazine when it got the successful result with the White Line Partnership Lancer Ralliart model that we used. And this car has also got front and rear sway bars to reduce the body roll, and some other tricky little suspension components, and of course the grunt to make it a fun car to drive. And just to quote some figures to give you a bit of an idea, I've had to write them down because there's so much. The standard Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart on our dyno, 145 to 155 kilowatts. You add the XA kit, you're looking at around another 15 kilowatts, the XB kit about 30, and then the XC kit between 40 and 50 kilowatts, which of course takes it well above factory standard EVO 10. So if you're looking for a car and you might not be able to afford an EVO 10, this package will end up costing you less than buying an EVO 10, but it'll actually be a quicker car, and if you add all the parts to it, it'll still be cheaper than an EVO 10 as well. Some other components to give you an idea, we spoke about the springs, sway bars, the big brake kit and the MRT Sports pads. But what I wanted to really focus on and talk about, which I can show you in the dyno graph, is the huge increase in torque. Now normally when you go to a bigger upgraded turbo in an upgraded package similar to this, you have to sacrifice a bit of performance somewhere. And normally when you go to a bigger turbo you end up with more lag. Now the incredible thing on this particular car with the components that we've fitted, we've actually managed to increase performance everywhere. So it's got more bottom end torque, more mid-range torque, and of course more top-end torque, and a hell of a lot more peak power. Remember, when you're driving a car and you want to have a car go quick, it's not about the peak power or the maximum number that determines how quick that car is, because it's the torque or the area under the graph that increases the drivability and the grunt of the car. And of course you're not always revving your car to maximum RPM to be able to take advantage of some of the peaky power figures that some workshops promote. In our situation, we aim to get mid-range power, because of course that's when you're driving your car the most. So have a close look at this graph and you'll truly see just how much better this car is to drive. And on the road, I have to say, it's probably one of the most fun cars that I've ever driven. Ironically, right behind me is the car that we built just prior to Christmas with the MY10 WRX with a huge batch of parts fitted to that, and of course it's the sister car or the competitor car to this particular model. Now the owner of that car has obviously invested a lot more parts in that car, and of course that one is fantastic to drive as well with its big brakes, big grunt and everything else. But if you're looking to buy a Lancer, or you've owned a Lancer and you want more reliable power, this is definitely the one to go for. So what I want to do is take you for a ride in the Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart with the XC kit. Just we'll get it outside the workshop and give you some feedback on just exactly what I think, because obviously I drive my EVO 10 every day. I'm really looking forward to driving this car. Just finished tuning it on the road. Always when I first drive a car, I don't just go and plant my foot and jump in it and drive it flat out, for two reasons. One is not far from the workshop, and secondly it's the drivability that often is the hardest thing to get a car to perform to. And just down our little bumpy road here, now we're just in normal mode at the moment. It certainly wants to get going down low, just only using the part throttle. Of course this is Australian model's got the SST semi-automatic transmission. That's just part throttle. Wow. Just a standing start here. This is a fairly straight bit of road. There's no one behind me. Because it's got extra grunt, I want to make sure it's in sport mode. It's pretty good. I was actually assuming that it first may want to have a lot more lag, because obviously with the bigger turbo, some of these cars, when they lose a little bit of bottom end, but they gain a hell of a lot of top end. But this is actually quite good, and this is a really fun car to drive. It's got slightly lower springs, sway bars, and of course our big brake upgrade kit. So in a lot of ways very similar to my EVO 10, and but obviously a hell of a lot cheaper to drive. You know, that's great. That's really good. One of the things with the Ralliart Lancer, it doesn't have SST mode or Super Sport mode. So I'm now put into sport mode, and you notice the engine's revving a lot harder because it assumes I'm going to be driving a lot quicker and harder with the transmission. And you can hear it blipping down through the gears as I come down, and it just, oh yeah, it's great. There you have it, Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart model with the MRT XC kit. That's plus, was it 45 to 50 kilowatts over factory standard, but it really doesn't do it justice from the peak power point of view. It's the massive increase in torque that really does make such a big difference to this particular car. And there is certainly, with the XB kit, no more grunt to be had with the factory standard turbo and components. And now with this revised turbo and inlet package, with the original factory standard airbox, I may add, it's a hell of a lot of good fun. So yeah, there you have it. Road test, drivability, power, cheaper than an EVO 10, hell of a lot more fun to drive. The Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart model with the MRT XC kit and all the suspension and brake upgrades certainly makes a fantastic fun car to drive, with the benefits of our proven guaranteed factory warranty guarantee. Of course, as per with everything else, you can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook and Flickr. Connect with us on LinkedIn. I encourage you to make some comments on this video, because we welcome your comments and feedback, because it's what we use to get some ideas and feedback on improving what we do to help you. No matter where you are in the world, we look forward to helping you in the future and educating you and helping you with your cars. I'm Brett Middleton. Thanks for watching.